is my 2024 Gibson Les Paul Custom. It's a heavy guitar. This guitar is just over 10 pounds, I believe. And this guitar came from Gibson's demo shop. If you're not aware of that, it's a shop on Reverb that Gibson has where maybe they are building a guitar and there's some tooling marks, or in this case there's some marks on the binding, but there's also some finish checking on the back of the headstock that is not intentional. This guitar is supposed to look new. It's not a Murphy Lab or anything. But instead of just giving those guitars to dealers to sell as B stock or anything like that, Gibson will put them on their own Reverb shop, the Gibson demo shop. Those guitars are usually marked down by a good bit. And also, I purchased this one during the 4th of July sale in 2024. And so I actually paid significantly less than the MSRP on these guitars. Speaking of, that price is $5,500, which is a lot of money to pay for a guitar. It's a lot of money to pay for anything. And I wanted to make a video just talking about if I think this guitar is worth that amount. Because when you think about it, especially if you were to buy used, that's 2 Les Paul standards, that's multiple Strats or Tellys you could buy, that's a boutique amplifier. Is your money best spent purchasing something like this? Because there's a lot of, not necessarily negative factors, but there's things that I personally do not like about this guitar, like how heavy it is, and sometimes the types of sounds that I can get out of this compared to a guitar that's $4,000 less, and I'll get into that in a minute as well. So I will get into my pros and cons regarding this guitar, and I'll show you guys what I ultimately think about it, but I am going to go through a couple of tones first, and I'll mic these amps, and then I also have a couple of amps where I can run them directly into my rig, and so I'll do that as well, and I'll have the text on screen showing you what you're hearing, just so you can kind of get an overall view of what this guitar sounds like. So as you can hopefully tell from those samples, this is a very dark sounding guitar, very heavy, growly sound. It's not the type of thing that somebody who maybe only plays Strats would be accustomed to. And so this is going to be your only Les Paul, but you're wanting to go in that direction and you want that gritty sound, this is a great option. Are there Epiphone Les Paul customs out there that cost significantly less and sound pretty close to this guitar? Absolutely. So let's get into why these guitars cost so much money and if it's worth paying Gibson's asking price. One of the reasons is the 5-ply binding, and this is all along the body. It's also on the headstock. You have the big block mother of pearl inlays, which are beautiful here. And then you've also got the mother of pearl signature Gibson diamond inlay on the headstock. And these are things that are just instantly recognizable. So yes, you are paying for the name brand and the reputation that this guitar has. Growing up, I saw videos of Randy Rhoads and his white Les Paul Custom. That's an iconic guitar. And for me, as well as for a lot of people, that was the golden standard. That was the dream guitar that everybody wanted to have, and that's part of why I own this guitar today. On the back of the headstock, you have the Gibson Custom decal there. Again, you are going to pay more money just to have that. If you're not aware, Gibson Custom is technically another division of the company where you're going to have different, quote-unquote, better builders making those guitars. I don't think that's really the case, but you might have more experienced people working over there, and the fit and finish and just the overall quality of those guitars is technically advertised as being better. Maybe Gibson doesn't explicitly state that, but it's certainly implied. Now, in my experience, and technically this is a good thing, the quality control and the fit and finish on something like this is pretty much identical to the Gibson USA production guitars that I have. And thankfully I have things made very close to the time that this guitar was manufactured to stack it up against and compare it to. So I have a Gibson LOO that was built this year, 2024. I have a Gibson SG Standard and a Les Paul Special that are both 2023. So it's not like I'm comparing something from the USA run from the 90s or early 2000s. These are built very, very close to when this guitar was created. And the fit and finish is pretty much identical, at least from what I can tell. I don't believe that that's anything to do with this being a Gibson demo shop guitar. I have played plenty of new ones on the wall in guitar stores, and it seems like the fit and finish is pretty close, if not the same. And I think, again, that's a good thing. I think maybe Gibson is even intentionally going for that. And a lot of what you're paying for is who built the guitar. Obviously, when you get into Murphy Lab stuff, that's a whole nother level. One of my buddies has a Murphy Lab 335, and that guitar is just, it's not even comparable. I mean, what they do to those guitars, the process and the time that they put in, they are extremely expensive. This is not on that level, but you're mostly paying, of course, for the relicking and the attention to detail with the finish checking, that kind of fit and finish. But I do like this guitar a lot. I do think that it serves its purpose for what I need it to do. I do have a Gibson Les Paul Classic that is a 2007 model, so they're made quite differently than the classics that you can purchase today. That's one of my favorite guitars. That's a life guitar for me. I'll never sell it. I prefer that guitar to this one. I paid less than 1/5 for that guitar of what I paid for this guitar. So keeping those things in mind, you really have to weigh, is it worth it for me to spend X amount of money and get this guitar when I can spend Y amount of money and get something that is extremely similar and in some cases might be better for me. And a great example of that is that Les Paul, that 2007 model that I have. That guitar weighs about 7 pounds. It is weight relieved. I think it sounds great. The pickups have been swapped out, and there's a few other modifications that have been done to it. But this guitar is over 10 pounds. I am not a strong person, so when I play on stage, I already have horrible posture. But when I play live with this guitar, which I don't know if I'll ever even do it again because it is so heavy, and I've seen videos. If I can find one, I'll put one up on the screen now. But I'm slouching when I play, and it's like I'm struggling to fight the guitar, so to speak. And it's not because the guitar is difficult to play. I think it plays like a dream, but it's so heavy. And some people, that is what they want, and that's what they look for in a Les Paul. I know people who say that they walk into a guitar shop and they ask for the heaviest one, and they claim that the heaviest one is going to have the best tone and the most sustain. And I'm not saying that that's not true, but for me, I am more benefited by having something light that I can control, that I can kind of sling around and throw back on the guitar stand when I'm done on stage playing with it live. And it's for those reasons that when playing live, at least comfort wise, I'm going to gravitate towards my Telecasters. Those guitars weigh 7 pounds, and then I have a thin line. It's technically a no-caster, but that guitar is, I believe it's less than 5.5 pounds. It's probably the lightest guitar I've ever owned, maybe the lightest one I've ever played. I gravitate towards things like that when I'm playing live. Yes, that's a vastly different guitar than a Les Paul Custom, but it's so comfortable. I can focus on just playing and not trying to balance this boat anchor out. And all of those things being said, there's going to be people out there who say, oh, well, you just need a 3-inch strap, and that's going to help with neck dive. Not that this particular guitar suffers from that too much, or that's going to help with the weight of the guitar. Yes, that does help. I don't have broad shoulders. I have a 3-inch strap. It just doesn't work for me. So I typically use 2-inch straps, and I think that this is a wonderful guitar. This is a beautiful guitar. It's very well made, but in a gigging situation or in most scenarios I play standing up, this is not the guitar that I'm going to immediately gravitate towards. That being said, I recognize that I'm extremely fortunate and I am able to own a multitude of guitars, and so to have something in my arsenal that looks like this, that's perfect. Would this be my only Les Paul? Absolutely not. I would pick my 07 over this one any day, just for how light it is. I prefer how that guitar plays. So do I think that these guitars are overhyped and overpriced? It really comes down to the player and what you want from the guitar. If you are going to put this on a stand or have it in a case where you can easily open it at any given moment, and you want to see that diamond on the headstock, and you know that you own a real Gibson Custom Shop Les Paul, just like Randy Rhoads played, just like all your Guitar Heroes played, then this might be the guitar for you, because if it's going to inspire you to play, the guitar can't make you a better player, but the inspiration and the motivation can. This might be something that you want to pick up if you're in a position to do so. Now, that being said, most people are not in a position to go out and spend $5,500 on a guitar. I wasn't in a position to do that. This one, again, was greatly, greatly marked down. And one more thing that I do want to talk about with this particular model, and I'm not sure how well this is going to show up here. And forgive me, this thing is coated in fingerprints. It's been gigged with multiple times and hasn't been cleaned since then, so I apologize for that. I do take care of my guitars. I just haven't cleaned this one yet. But this guitar, it's not ebony. And when I have the pickguard on it, you can really tell. But this guitar is charcoal metallic, is what Gibson calls the color. And so it's almost like a very light black silver sparkle kind of finish. And you can, again, really tell when that pickguard's on there, just because the pickguard is pitch black, and so you can tell that the guitar is a lighter color. But when you play this guitar in the light, or maybe you got lights on stage and the light's reflecting off it, you can really tell that this is a unique finish. As far as what I've seen, Gibson has only put 2 of these in the demo shop, but I'm not sure how many they actually produced. So what are my final thoughts on this guitar? Well, if I had to give it a rating on a scale of 1 to 10, this guitar would be 8.5 for me. Now, a lot of people will hear that and they'll say, if I'm paying this amount of money, the guitar is going to be perfect or I'm going to send it back. And that's fair. For me, as I've stated, this guitar does exactly what I need it to. But there is a little comparison video that I want to make for you guys to show you something important about this guitar. So this has the 498T and the 490R humbuckers in it. For her birthday this year, for my wife, I bought her a Gibson Les Paul Modern Lite. That guitar is not 1/5 of the price of this guitar, but it's very close. It is much less money. And the pickups are the exact same, or at least according to Gibson, they're the exact same pickups that they put in both models. So I'm going to do a quick comparison video. I probably won't go through as many amps and settings as I did in the initial tones that I recorded for this guitar, but I just want to show you guys the guitars head to head, and you can see, is it just the pickups? Because in that case, you're better off saving some money and buying a guitar like that, or buying, Gibson has countless models that come with those pickups, so you might be better off buying something like that, or multiple guitars like that, as opposed to just buying one Les Paul Custom. So we'll get into those comparisons now. And that is it, guys. Do you think this guitar sounds better than the Modern Light? Do you think it sounds worse? Is there one that you preferred? Let me know in the comments. The other thing to keep in mind when you're buying a Les Paul Custom, they used to be made with mahogany tops. So obviously it's mahogany back and sides, mahogany neck. That's standard for all Les Pauls. But nowadays, these are made the same as the standards and the classic and studios and all those. And this is a maple cap on top. They don't do the mahogany top anymore. And I'm not quite sure what the reasoning is behind that. But I know some people will go out of their way to purchase the ones with the mahogany top, and they claim that that's an even darker, more gritty, growly sound, and they prefer that. From what I have seen, those guitars do tend to be a lot heavier, but they're also more sought after, and that's like the quintessential Les Paul Custom. But if you buy a new one now, as far as I know, without going into very, very expensive territory or going into like some Murphy Lab models, if you buy just a standard production Les Paul Custom, it is going to have the maple top on it. So that's just one more thing to keep in mind with these guitars. So the Les Paul Custom, what do you guys think? Would you buy one? Yes or no? Let me know below in the comments. And thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye.